Well, thank you everyone for attending our webinar. Quite a few clients asked me about this topic, so I figure I'll just present it to everyone. And everyone will receive a recording after this. Also, we have some deliverables, so everyone will receive a AI survey, usage survey, and AI policy document too. And then if you're a client of Link High, you could definitely call us up and we'll be happy to kind of tailor it for you. All right, so our webinar, AI in the workspace, governance, risks, and getting ready. What your staff is really doing with AI and what you need to do before it becomes a problem. So what we'll cover today, and feel free to ask any questions. It's an open forum. Number one, the AI reality check, what your employees are already doing with AI, with or without your knowledge. Two, why it matters, the real risks hiding in plain sight, from data leakage to compliance violations. Three, the AI governance framework, policy, data classification rules, and who's accountable. Four is building an improved AI usage policy, free versus paid versus enterprise grade AI. And five is the staff survey walkthrough. And six, the Microsoft AI security assessment. So Microsoft has a free assessment where we'll send the link to everyone, and you can either take it by yourself, or if you need our assistance, we'll do it with you. But it's fairly simple. There's up to 75 questions, but most of our clients are picking sections 1 and 2, really about usage and governance, and that's about 30 questions. And it probably takes about 20 minutes or so. All right. Your employees are already using AI. I don't think we have one organization in our client base that doesn't have AI. We could see it through our scanning software and our other tools. Um, so the question is, do you know which tools for what data under what rules? Um, According to Microsoft Work Trend Index and IBM, 75% of knowledge workers are using AI tools regularly at work, whether approved or not. 46 are using unapproved tools, using AI tools that were never approved by IT. And 38% have entered sensitive data, which includes client records, financial data, into free unmanaged tools. And then 1 in 3 have had data exposure incidents. And I'll go more into that as well. So the real risk is, number one, is the data leakage. Employees paste client records, financials, PHI, which is personal health information, into, let's say, ChatGPT, but it could be Claude, or it could be something else too. That model may be used to train AI or expose in a future breach. It could be a compliance violation, a violation of HIPAA, FINRA, state privacy laws. There's no exceptions for AI tools. A single paste of patient and client data is a potential regulatory violation. And then AI hallucinations. It's not just a free. Like Link High, we have an enterprise plan for our employees. And I use Claude, I use ChatGPT, I use Copilot. I think Claude's my favorite for the agents, but all of them generate false information. So you really want to be careful before you take, a work product from an AI tool. You should really vet it first before sending it out. It could be wrong, and there's ways to minimize it as well. One way is if it's an important document or in a spreadsheet with like hundreds or thousands of cells, I'll run it through ChatGPT and Claude, right? And compare the results. If they're similar or the same, then it's pretty safe. You'd be surprised. Sometimes it's completely different. Then I'll have to go in and figure out, which model was right. Shadow AI, it's so easy to for your population or your team members to download tools. A lot of them are web-based completely, so it makes it very hard to prevent. Claude has a desktop version. We could block, someone installing the desktop version both on Windows and Mac, but most of them have a Windows version, I mean a browser version, which is very hard. And then a policy vacuum. Without a published AI policy, you have no recourse when something goes wrong, no enforceable standard for, consistent safe usage. So every organization uses AI, that uses AI needs a written policy. And there's a few elements that should be in there. I wrote one up with some help that everyone will get today. So number one is acceptable use. Define which tools are approved, permitted for limited personal use or organizational use, and which ones are outright prohibited. And then put specific examples, like in LinkHigh, where we have corporate accounts for ChatGPT, for Claude, and Copilot. There is no other approved tool, so you may not use it free or otherwise here. Data classification. Make sure that you clearly state which data could be entered into the AI systems. It should be public information only, never client info, personal health info, financial records, credentials, internal contracts. And then maintain an approved tool list, and that changes. So we started with Copilot, then we added ChatGPT, then we added Claude. And there's another AI tool just for our industry that we're looking at. We'll probably add that as an approved list too. So it's a living document. It's something that you should probably look at on a quarterly or annual basis. Employer responsibilities. So that should be in there, always require human verification before any content is used externally. Instant reporting. So if you accidentally upload a file that has client info, personal health info, they need to report it to you or the organization. And it should be the same policy as, oops, if you clicked on a phishing email by accident. And then I already went over review and updates. You really want to review it. We're doing it quarterly since AI is changing so quickly that I've noticed that all our vendors are adding AI elements into our products too. The products that we use to service our clients, we haven't turned on any AI tools besides the ones I've talked about, but we're looking at it. All right, so what data can go into AI? And here's the general rule. So never enter into free AI tools, client names, contact details, account numbers, protected health info, social security numbers. I'm not going to read the rest. Everyone will get the deck. Generally safe ones are publicly available information or research, generic writing, grammar, tone. Summarization is great. I use AI to summarize all my emails each morning, identify which ones are important, give me an outline. So those are great. And then when in doubt, leave that data out, treat it as sensitive. Oops, sorry. All right, so prohibited. Not all tools are created equal. So prohibited ones are the ChatGPT personal free account, the Google Gemini personal account, Meta AI, Grok. There's a lot of AI browser extensions. In my opinion, unless it's an extension of an approved product that you have, you should block it. And you can tell LinkHigh, we can block most extensions as well. And use with caution. Grammarly, both the free and paid consumer models have a tendency to take some of your data and put in their training models. I've heard Perplexity AI has some issues. I haven't used it personally. And the approved ones, like ones with enterprise grade, Microsoft 365 Copilot is very safe because one, it only looks at your Microsoft tenant information. So if you're OneDrive, your SharePoint has the proper permissions and the data labels, it should be fairly safe. Other ones are like Claude and ChatGPT. And it's also important to look at your subscription. So Joanna and I were looking, so even like a ChatGPT Pro, which is a paid version, has an option to allow the data to go into their training model. So you really want to go into any product that you have, and they may change it. Under ChatGPT was under data protection. There's like a little slide selector that you could say, no, don't share my information, don't use it for training purposes. I would recommend that you do it. Another question I've been getting from clients, like the difference between not just paid, like a $20 model, is like the enterprise model. So the enterprise model, one is more expensive, but it's for multiple users, right? Usually like Claude is 5 users or more. But it's not just multiple users. An enterprise version, like the ones we have, I have the ability to control what searches like Joanna or any other employee uses. I can also uh, view the chats and projects, which is important, mainly for sharing, right? Why should we all do separate research on the same topic? So if there's a project for the organization, then everyone should be able to participate in the output. All right, so you can't govern what you don't know. Discover shadow AI. Um, I would use the survey first. You'd be surprised. We've done it for 2 clients, and it's amazing the amount of free tools that everyone's using. And they're using it to make themselves more productive, but the organization really needs to know. And then identify high-risk roles. Certain departments, especially like finance, HR, you really want to make sure how they're using AI. And then um, some of our larger clients, it's up to the department heads to build a business case to see if it justifies the expense of the product. And the other thing is I've gotten a couple calls from clients is like for Claude, just because you pay $20, it's not $20 unlimited, right? You get a certain amount of usage of AI tokens or credits, and it's very easy to go over that. There's little tips and tricks. So I use Claude. I have multiple reports that automatically pull data from our SharePoint or my OneDrive, collate it, and produce those reports for me. I used to have it run Monday through Friday, and I noticed I always ran out of tokens and I was spending like $300 to $400 a month. Well, if you run your reports that are not time sensitive over the weekend, like all my reports are Saturday and Sunday, the cost drastically goes down. I think my bill went down like 35%. So if it's not time sensitive, you can run those agentic or agent-based jobs off hours after midnight, on the weekends. It'll save you quite a bit of money. Any questions so far?
There hasn't been any questions so far, but yeah, I did want to say if anyone has any, I'm checking everything so we could help you out. I did that quick poll. If your organization currently has any AI usage policy in place, we got 2 yeses, 4 nos, and 1 unsure. So hopefully we can help you guys out today.
Sure. And I've seen it, like even our payroll company mentioned that they're going to put it as sample one in their employee handbook. So it's that prevalent. I'm pretty sure by next year it's just going to be standard. So the survey, it's really it could be anonymous. It works better when it's not. So number one, it should be like your role, your department, your tech comfort level, to the free AI tools that you're using, how frequently and why you're using it, and then paid subscriptions. Um, some clients allow their employees to expense things. So I've noticed some of them are just using AI tools and expensing against the company, which is great. Except the company really doesn't know, besides like they're expensing $20, $30 a month, that they're really using AI tools and what the reason is. And then the value, right? You want to hear the value and impact. I've seen some surveys that clients have shared. Some people, especially in finance, have said it's saved them dozens of hours a week. That's a great use case. And then that should really make the organization say that's a great investment. Not every department has that same impact, but usually finance, I've seen quite a bit. Um, but it could be any department. So we have a municipality as a client, and finance certainly uses it to great productivity gains. But DPW, Department of Public Works, every year, every summer, they hire an intern to just take all the vendor invoices and scan it and collate it and just sum up the totals. And that's some intern the entire summer. It takes them to do it. They use Microsoft Copilot, did everything within like 2, 3 hours and produce the same results. They still have the intern for this summer, but they're going to do something more productive, right? So the savings, it could be any department. They just found a great use case. You really just have to think, what is something that is repetitious or something that could be, automated? Then you should try it with AI and see if it helps. Reading your survey results. So Ethan Glassgold, our account manager, and myself will go over any surveys, if you want. So high percentage of free tools. So if you see a high percentage of free tools, you really want to dig further because um, there may be a great use case to get the paid version, right? And make your department or individual that much more productive. Um, if someone's spending money out of their own pocket for AI, that's another use case you really want to ask and see if it helps their position. Maybe the company should pay for it, and maybe a company should roll it out to that department as well, or more people in the organization. Finance and HR really want to talk about how they're using it. Make sure permissions for their data in SharePoint on the file server or OneDrive are very tight. So here's an example that happened in one client. I won't use any names, but their SharePoint, which they create themselves, um, the standard folders are by department, like HR, finance, but there were no permissions. It's a smaller organization, less than 20, but when you have no permissions, if someone has like a Microsoft Copilot and they're running a search, and it's not intentional, but they could say like, I want to know what my W-2 was last year or something. And since there's no permissions or guardrails, it could inadvertently pull up other individuals' company information or personal financial information. So it's very important if it's finance or HR that where that data lies is siloed. And there's two ways to do it. The easiest way that anyone could do themselves is just make sure that the folders themselves have certain permissions. The easiest way is through security groups, like only accounting members or finance or HR members have permission to that folder. That's a quick and dirty way. The other way, it takes a little more effort, but there's things called data sensitivity labels. So we can help implement that. You do need different Microsoft licenses, but you can either manually label anything in the finance or anything from a certain individual as, financial, right? So it has a data sensitivity that you could say all confidential. So it can't be shared or pulled up by anyone who doesn't have that right. There are other Microsoft licenses, E5, that can automatically look at the document and slap a label like confidential, sensitive, general public to it. So usually our larger clients, I'll use those licenses. Most people either just apply it through the folder or use a sensitivity label by person or group. All right, and then know exactly where you stand. We already talked about the survey deployment. It's 21 questions. We gave it to you in the PDF. You could just use it as you want, Word, or put it into an online survey tool. Make it your own. I think the best, I've seen both anonymous and named. Um, Named works better. Um, because then you can go, this role, this department really needs it. And then the governance template. Again, I sent you ours, but I've tailored it for a client. So if you deal with children in school, you need to add sections to protect the children, right? If you're a nonprofit, then you have other, donor information. So it needs to be tailored for that. And then the AI readiness assessment, Microsoft has a free one. Again, 75 questions, but you can pick the sections. It could be as little as 20 questions, and it just tells you how ready you are to implement AI in your organization. We do offer paid assessments. Joanna's going to include sample reports of what we do the paid. The paid one is really, it goes through your entire SharePoint OneDrive file server, tells you how many, all your folders, what their permissions are, and then sharing links, right? It, for some reason, like one client, they have thousands of anonymous sharing links that are still open. Probably not a good idea. What we recommend, if you're going to share a document, it should always be named, right? It should not be anonymous. Send it, like if I want to send one, I'm going to send to Joanna. And then all these links should have an expiration, be it, 90 days, 180 days, 1 year, but it can't just kind of sit out there. Unfortunately, there's exploits now every once in a while that they can click on a SharePoint link or a OneDrive link, and with a 0-day exploit, be able to infiltrate your organization. So, any questions?
Uh, Looks like none.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Joanna will be sending out all those templates, and feel free, take a look. You could do it yourself. If you need help, we will do it with you. And if you need to have it tailored, then probably myself and Pete Balika, who's our CTO, will personally sit down with you remotely or, over Teams or and do it with you or tailor it with you.
And I just put Ethan's Calendly link in the chat. So if anyone wanted to start with him as well. And I should have the deliverables out today.
Okay. Yeah, go through Ethan. What he'll do is invite me or Pete to those meetings. So it'll always be, Peter or myself, but even Ethan drives it. And he's your account manager. So feel free to contact him for anything else account related as well. And then if you could respond to Joanna and for like future webinar topics, I did get one. It's going to take a lot of work. How to build like Claude and ChatGPT prompts. I've been doing that for Linkai and one other client. So if enough people ask for that, I would probably do it. That would be more like a September webinar. But that takes a lot of time and effort to do. So if there's a need or a desire to see it, I'll be happy to do a generic one.
Yeah, I just left my email in the chat if anyone wants to reach out to me with specific webinar ideas for the future, that would be great. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll talk to you guys later today. Sorry, my dog's going crazy now. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you.